the paradigm shift in conceptual learning. The paradigm shift brings about a new set of concepts for us. Concepts from things to people, and concepts from products to process. A paradigm shift is a way to view things differently, from one point of view to a different point of view, from one perspective to another perspective, and therefore leads to a very different frame of perception. The paradigm shift could be from teacher to student, or from standardized approaches to managing diversity in the classroom, rather than, for example, looking at a situation from your own point of view as a teacher. A paradigm shift would be looking at a situation from the student's perspective, or it could be, instead of looking from a school point of view at what's happening in the classroom, to a very unique individualist perspective from yourself and your students in the classroom in terms of what's learning. It could be moving from replication, or in other words, just repeating strategies which you've been taught and which everybody else is using, to some sort of different approach, perhaps inspirational, testing different ways of doing things in the classroom. It could be about moving from controlling the students in the classroom to actually managing change and managing uncertainty, which is a very different way of working with things. So we can represent the paradigm shift for the reflective practitioner in a diagram, and it's a very simple diagram to review. It has three components. There's not necessarily a starting point, but we can think of the paradigm shift, the change in perspective, the different point of view, as leading to new understanding for the reflective practitioner, a new way of doing things, a new way of looking at things. And this new understanding, this new way of seeing and doing, can actually lead to a different way of knowing what things are about, or in other words, emergent knowing. And because this is conceptual learning, what that can do as it builds up over time is lead to another paradigm shift, which can then of course lead to new perspectives, new ways of seeing and doing in the classroom. So it becomes a cycle. So the paradigm shift really then leads to different kinds of learning, and we can think of three different kinds of learning. One kind of learning is called single loop learning, and this is very much about following the rules, or in other words, the teacher applying strategies in the classroom which they've been taught and which they repeat, which they replicate. They don't try to move outside of those rules and regulations, instead repeating the strategies, even though they may be failing, simply because this is what has been taught. The other type of learning is double loop learning. This actually goes beyond the straightforward, strict strategies and gets the teacher to reflect on whether the rules themselves need to actually change, rather than the people that the rules are acting on. This, for the reflective practitioner, requires some sort of outside thinking outside of the box, in order for learning, double loop learning, to actually occur. And of course, we have single loop learning and double loop learning, so we also have triple loop learning. And this is where we are learning how to learn, learning how to make meaning and to derive understanding from our experiences. From a very personal point of view, I think learning how to learn is one of the most powerful tools that the teacher can acquire. And indeed, it's one of the most powerful skills that the teacher can pass on to students.